Welcome to the Fantasy Syndicate Podcast with your hosts, Joshua Poniatowski and Alex Taylor. Let's talk football.
Hello, and welcome to the Fantasy Syndicate Podcast, Playoff Edition, Fantasy Football. Week 15 is wrapped, and we're going to talk about some key data points, things you need to know, upcoming Week 16 situations, and all the things you need to know to steal your championship. So let's get after it. Exciting week. Just a reminder, JSN jersey giveaway. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We are a couple weeks away, and we're giving away an autographed jersey.
Final
Some
stretch.
of y'all been slacking. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I haven't seen Nick and Ross and Robin. Where have y'all been in the comments? Did you lose? Like, what happened? Did you not make the playoffs? Yeah.
So before I was gonna say, sign up, comment, get in that JSN jersey. I was gonna say before we dive into into the details, the nitty gritty. As everyone I'm sure remembers, Josh and I did have a massive quarterfinals matchup last week, and my team heroically lost. Yes, Josh did beat me. Said he is him and put up like 38 or something. It was a close matchup there for a bit, and then he pulled away at the end. But all right, Josh, come up, hype your boys. I know you want to take your victory lap.
It was. Yep, McBride again did nasty things against Houston. I had a couple guys that played well. It was garbage time. Me and Alex were texting, and honestly, I thought I lost because of how terrible everybody was doing. And
by
then,
the
3
garbage
PM,
time I was looking good. By 3 p.m., I was looking
great.
good.
I was like, it's over. Yeah. And then sure enough, garbage time kicked in, and all these players, mostly, wide receivers.
And it's a full PPR, so you had all those Bengals players that were just getting those little dump offs. Just for the whole second half, I was just getting eaten alive. It was like a death by 1,000 cuts. But yes, good victory. Good luck to you in the semifinals. I'll be watching the sidelines. In that league, I still got plenty of others. I'm around. You can't knock me out that easy.
Me and Alex are actually in a dynasty league where we were playing each other as well, and we're doing a 3-week playoff. So technically, this rivalry is not dead. So we're still rolling with it. I got a game for you all this week, and I got a game for you, Alex. As we know, Phillip Rivers returned as a 44-year-old grandfather to play in an NFL game. He literally just came off the couch.
Almost got the win. He got him that field goal.
It was close, 43 seconds or something.
Everyone was hyped.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, but he ended up putting up 120 yards. It wasn't pretty, but he did throw a touchdown. Which after, I don't know if you saw him throw that touchdown, but he was just freaking out. He was just like spamming emotes and just celebrating.
In like 5 years.
Yes. And funny enough, he finished as QB 30 on the week in fantasy. Almost tied with Joe Burrow.
Does not last.
Yes. Who I started against you, which was absolute insane that he only put up like 8 points or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Sanders did worse than him, and then Kenny Pickett also did. But I guarantee if Vegas lets me, I am betting all of the under odds for Phillip Rivers. Last week, I tried to bet unders, and they didn't even have it as an option. Like, they didn't even have odds.
That's crazy.
For unders for Rivers. Yeah, it's insane. Imagine how sore you would be after a full NFL game coming off the couch, 44 years old.
There's not enough ice baths in the world.
You're telling me. He put up 120 and a touchdown. This week he's going for like 80 and 2 picks. But the game we're going to play is this player older or younger than Phillip Rivers? This could be a retired player. I don't think there's any active players. I looked for some. Most of them are kickers.
They all have to be.
Yeah.
Well, at least to make it interesting.
For sure. But most of these guys are retired. So I'm just going to give you a name. Tell me if it's older or younger, and then I will give you his birthday and if you're right or wrong. All right. Frank Gore, the great running back, Frank Gore.
He played a long time.
He did.
But he played a long time in like running back years, I'm going to say younger.
Okay, he is younger, 42 years old. And Frank Gore played a long time, not just in running back years, but in every years.
Yeah. He played like 16, 17 years probably.
Yeah, like a ridiculous career, not just for running back, but anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't even count on these. So 2005 to 2020. So 15 years. Yeah, it's just absolutely
15 or 16 maybe.
15, 16.
Yeah. That's what it said.
All right. Next one up is Jason Witten.
I think he's a little younger too. I think he's probably the same as Gore. I'm gonna say younger.
Younger. You are correct. He is 43 years old. You're crushing this right now. All right, we're gonna get a couple a little bit more difficult here. Andre Johnson.
I don't think you'd give me 3 unders in a row, so I'm gonna go over.
Simply based off the betting. He is a couple of months older. So, yes, you got that one.
There we go.
Troy Polamalu.
I mean, he's been out of the league for a while.
Long time.
He's already in Canton, but I mean, he's a safety. How long do safeties play? He played a while. I'm going to say older.
He's older only by a couple of months. They're actually both 44 years old. It's crazy. All right. Reggie Wayne.
Wow. I mean, he's been in the league for like a decade. He's got to be older.
He's 46, so only 2 years older, which is crazy. Right. But yeah, he is older. All right, last
he's
one
been out of
is
the league
Terrell
for like
Suggs.
A decade. He leaves easily, so
long time. So can you clean sweep this? Terrell Suggs is the last one.
He's been out for a while too, man. Linebackers probably don't play as long. I mean, they're getting beat up. I'm gonna say older again.
Saying older. And he is 42 years old.
Wow.
Almost. You almost had it. Yeah, he's 42.
Linebackers probably, once you lose a step, you're probably just like can't keep up. And it seems like he's been out of the league for 8 or 9 years. So
for sure, yeah. So I try to pick
Rivers is still out there.
The older folks. Congrats to Rivers. It'll be interesting to see if he even starts this week or what they do in that situation. Like this, honestly, when we talk about like a football product, yeah, their culture in playoff contention, so it's different. But think about some of these other teams that have been eliminated. What if they just called up their old, like, give Tom Brady a call and be like, yo, come play for the Raiders? Like, who would not be like, absolutely, I'll pay money to come watch this game?
Yeah, I was just like,
really?
Just to sell tickets and just like,
yeah.
So people get some jersey sales of just like a random,
how awesome would that be?
Cam Newton on I don't know, Commanders jersey or something like that.
Yeah, just throw these used to be elite quarterbacks into just to create a product on the field, and then you end up losing anyway, and you get a higher pick. Like it's a win-win situation if I'm a GM, but it gets a little strange there. But
I guess
last week
you could run the risk of insulting all your current players and then being like, you're not taking us seriously.
Yes,
I don't know,
it could be like, what are you doing? For sure, like is this a joke to you? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like they got to know that already. Last week, Odunze was active. This might have happened to some of you. So he was active, but he got ruled out legitimately about 5 to 10 minutes before game time because he re-aggravated his injury. If this happened to you, leave a comment what happened in your situation. I don't have any Rome stock, but I was considering adding Burden just to plug him in because of the news. But let's say you, Alex, were playing against someone who had Rome. They missed the news that he was ruled out. We got locked into his lineup, and they reached out to the commission. They were like, hey, I want to make a change of this player who hasn't played yet. Would you allow it as the opponent or even the commissioner? What are you doing in that type of situation?
It was really wicked. It was like super insane. Last minute. I mean, really just goes show the usefulness of the auto sub feature on Sleeper. Hopefully Yahoo gets that soon next year. I don't know. I think it kind of depends on when and like how the conversation was broached. Certain people have a little bit more tact than others, and certain people would be a little salty or be like, nah, you're screwed. But I think for the most case, I would be okay allowing my opponent to sub that out. I think as a commish, if they came to you, it's like you got to get approval from like both sides first. I think before you can if you just do that, there's just gonna be like an open revolt, So
yeah, so I mean, you got to go to your opponent and be like, "Listen, I missed an opportunity. Will you let me switch?" And I guess it's kind of up to them at that point. I think if the player hadn't played yet, obviously you're not gonna be like, "So can you plug in Kyle Pitts?"
Yeah,
in this
situation? Guy with like 25 points or something. Yeah.
Like if you hadn't played, maybe it was a Sunday night game or Monday game. Like maybe in that situation, I think it'd be okay. I'd do that, but it can't be somebody that's already played. In that situation. All right, good deal. Well, we're going to move over to the smash start of the week, and Alex can get us started. Who you got?
Well, last week, a little recap. I went for Wendell Robinson. Leading up to it, I liked his target share and the soft matchup against Commanders. He ended up with a decent wide receiver 20 finish. 5 catches, 54 yards on a score. So good. It wasn't like as smashy as I hoped for. He did have 10 targets, so it could have been even better. Just didn't quite wrangle in some of them. This week, I'm going to go a bit bold. I'm taking a QB, so this is maybe a little bit more relevant in like a super flex league. Probably there's better options in a single quarterback league, but who knows? I'm going to go with the rookie Tyler Shough out of New Orleans. He's scored at least 18 points in 4 of his last 5 games. He gets the Jets team who have absolutely zero will to live. He started using his legs a lot more lately. He's averaging over 7 rushing attempts a game over the last 4 weeks. I get it's maybe not a sexy pick, but his floor has been kind of sneaky good lately.
Yeah, that rushing upside really helps, especially in 4-point passing touchdowns, like helps significantly to keep the floor somewhat standard from week to week. As you were talking about, Shough, I was thinking about Gardner Minshew as well as a potential that's probably available, I'd imagine, in 90% of Superflex leagues as a sneaky start if you need him.
I started like typing out some stuff on Gardner Minshew, and the last thing I was like, I'm gonna switch away because I was like, has Minshew ever had like this has got to be his best offensive situation? Not that the Chiefs' offense has been like dynamic, but like they got playmakers, they got reliable people. It's an Andy Reid offense. This is probably the best offensive situation he's been in.
Playing the Titans. So, yeah. So sneaky last minute plug too.
All right, what about you? Who you got?
Yeah, so last week I recommended Pat Bryant just due to the coverage scheme and his increased usage, but unfortunately, he ended up getting hurt and was ruled out with a hammy injury. But Courtland Sutton finished as wide receiver 6. Troy Franklin finished as wide receiver 9. And even little Jordan Humphries finished as wide receiver 25 on the week. Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to consider this a hit, even though Bryant didn't play, since all 3 of their starting wide receivers finished as top 25 wide receivers on the week. There is no chance he wouldn't have a solid performance when little Jordan Humphrey was on the practice squad a week ago for the Giants, and he came out and put up a wide receiver 25 finish.
I'm taking the team win, the team dub. Yeah.
Yes, I am, absolutely. For this week, though, honestly, it was very difficult for me to find a smash start. You know, I like to look at schematic matchups, defenses, what type of coverage they're running. There's a handful of folks, but I ended up landing on Dalton Schultz as my I like him because we're doing this segment kind of thing of the week. My big worry is Houston is favored by 14 points in this game, and it can get out of hand quickly. They might just pull their starters. It happened last week with Philly, who was playing the Raiders. They went up big early.
Oh, yeah.
You had a couple Phillies players, and they were done by the third quarter. I'm worried about that a little bit. If you have Nico Collins, like this is a fun plug. He is destroying cover 3, which the Raiders run at 47% rate. If you have him, there is no questions in my mind. I'm starting him over Rashee Rice. I'm starting him over Courtland Sutton. I'm starting him over some of the other top tier guys. If you got Nico, he's a lock start for me if you have options like that.
Yeah, he's really like rejuvenated his year in general.
He has been
about midway
amazing.
through, like, hey, what a bust. And then he's just been super solid down the stretch.
Target share, first read. The offense has been playing better. CJ Stroud has a little bit more time to pass the ball, which has helped. You know, the Raiders might, with Max Crosby, might be able to put a little bit more pressure on him based on what they do, you know, trying to block him. But I like Schultz because the Raiders, I mentioned this already, they're playing zone at a league high 83%, which no other defense is in the 80s in the NFL. Schultz has been targeted just as much as Nico, around 25% of the routes run versus zone. He's seeing 2 yards per out run, which is, you know, some of the top in the league. And he's averaging 6.5 targets a game, 20% team target share, and he's run 147 routes over the past 5 weeks. Like, this isn't amazing data, but it puts him in top 8 in every single category at the tight end position for usage. And you know, I love usage and I love opportunities and I want my guys on the field. So like that's why I picked that. That's why I went with Schultz. So we'll see how it works out.
I like it.
All right, we're going to move over to the data dump section where we look at all the good data that you need to know. And the first one we are going to start with, of course, is Kyle Pitts.
We got to talk about him. It's a weekly tradition at this point.
About Pitts. If you remember, I started the year high on Pitts. I called him my sleeper tight end. Well, we're probably going to end the year where I'm feeling the same way. I'm honestly upset at myself that I missed this last week because it was just so obvious in the data. But since Drake London has been out, Kyle Pitts has been operating as a wide receiver 1 on that Falcons offense, even before this explosive game. So even before he went ham. He has seen 26% team target share, 30% first read target share, and 86% route share, which is all number one on the Falcons. The Falcons have the Cardinals this upcoming week, the Rams after that. The Rams matchup might be tough, but I honestly believe as long as Drake London is out, you can use Pitts as a tight end one moving forward. And even I'd consider him in a flex play in a PPR league. I'm viewing him as a low end wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside if he finds the end zone. So I know it sounds crazy to say, but I like him a lot.
He has been very hot lately. I think we got to take it a little bit with a grain of salt. It was against my Bucks. And for some reason, Kirk Cousins and him are just like, they go wild whenever they're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, that's the only side of caution I would say. But yes, he's been very hot lately.
Again, how did we miss that last week? It's so frustrating that I didn't see the data. You being a Bucks fan, like knew it in the back of your subconscious, and we swing and a miss. So it's all right. We'll get better. Bam Knight left with an injury. He was actually just placed on IR. I got the update, and during that game, Michael Carter saw 79% of the snaps and 75% of the opportunities. He appeared to be the main benefactor with that injury. Amari DiMarcado hasn't played more than 40% of the snaps all year. This will be his second week back from a high ankle sprain. Honestly, Carter could see a high volume running back play if you need one this week, but we've seen this time and time again where mid-game strategy is very different for coaches when they have a full week to prep. So just be cautious. If you go in with that mindset, you're pretty much starting a high volume play if you go with Carter, and we see the same usage.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's defense giving up the 8th most rushing yards in the league, so I do think he's got pretty solid flex play here. But yeah, I mean, the Arizona backfield's been a little disappointing all season, so you got to somewhat anticipate that.
Yeah. Woody Marks is a crazy stat. I saw this online. It's not mine. Has left 13 consecutive games with an injury concern. That is an NFL record, I believe, like 13 games consecutively with some type of injury situation. He just seems to be an injury risk. Just an FYI for maybe any dynasty owners. Maybe you're thinking about moving him. It just doesn't look great.
He's also 24 as a rookie. That seems like kind of old for a rookie RB, I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah, running backs, RJ Harvey, I think, is around the 24-year-old as well. But, hey, you get a couple years of production out of running backs, and then you typically have to move on unless you're getting similar elite guys. Talking about another running back, Kimani Vidal played 65% of the snaps to Omarion Hampton's 37. Even though Hampton saw more opportunities, again, this is very similar to last week. This appears to be a split backfield of almost the worst kind because it's unpredictable. Vidal saw 2 of the 3 goal line opportunities, but Hampton saw 7 of the 8 short yardage opportunities. It's just all levels of gross, and I think moving forward, you can be pretty confident that I don't like starting either of these guys, and maybe in a PPR format, Vidal brings a little bit more usage because he has actually been running more routes than Hampton, which, as an elite talent, it's just tough to see. Oronde Gadsden put up a respectable 4 reception on 61 yards. Schematically, the Cowboys might be the best matchup he faces all year. The only issue is he played the lowest usage since week 4. He didn't start getting into the offensive lineup until week 3, week 4, and that essentially has been his lowest usage all year. He's only in the 50% range of routes run. I just don't know if you can trust him. Like if you use 70%, I would have ended up making him like a smash start for me this week. Also, his separation score is last in the NFL over the past couple weeks. He hasn't really been separating from his defenders. Yeah, so
he's really cooled down. I mean, he had back-to-back double-digit points and hasn't touched double digits since then. So yeah, I mean,
and I think that's part of that offense as a whole just has kind of
the loss of tackles. Herbert got an injury and surgery, and everything just kind of unraveled injuries there.
On better news, Treveon Henderson, I don't know if this is good news, but he played 49% of the offensive snaps, but it didn't matter because he is seeing opportunities. He has been explosive beyond belief. This also might sound crazy, but Rhamondre Stevenson might be a solid floor running back play if you need points. He's playing 67 to 70% of the snaps weekly in back-to-back weeks. He's on a high-powered offense. They have an amazing Week 17 matchup. And while he didn't get
Baltimore
any goal
this
line,
week's good too.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore has been playing a lot better though. Like their defense, even though they gave a bunch of PPR junk last week, their defense has been playing better. But yeah, so either way, I think both bring value. in one way or another. I'm just worried that Henderson, if he doesn't have an explosive run, it might be like a dud
Not
game,
enough.
right? Like he's
Not value.
broken massive, right? The last week it was 250+ yard touchdown runs, and the week before that was I think 1. So his explosive plays are what is bringing him value, which you love, right? You want that upside. So yeah,
he's kind of like a early Jahmyr Gibbs situation where, you know, his just efficiency is just bonkers. But you're not like
charts.
super excited about it. So I'm curious to hear you and me debate his placement going into next season, because you'll love him, and I'll be doing the same retread of hating on Gibbs. He just doesn't get the work.
He's just so good, but we'll see. I'm talking about the Bucks. Sean Tucker had 4 opportunities and 100% of the goal line work in week 15 over Bucky. Tough sledding Bucky.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'll just take anybody who can get the Bucks a win. I'm just trying to win this division here. But yeah, it's been a little frustrating as a Bucky owner.
The good thing is that the Panthers also lost, right? They ended up losing. So
someone's got to win this division. Nobody knows who, but someone's got to win it.
Somehow alive. Stefon Diggs has not broken a 60% route share in 3 games. I honestly believe he's in a droppable candidate at this point. There's always a chance that he might boom. Honestly, this week he has a great matchup. He might explode, but he just isn't on the field enough for me to be considered as a wide receiver. It's just tough to see, especially as a Diggs owner. I got him in a league.
Yeah, he had a fun little stretch there in the middle where he was kind of like back on the radar and everyone was kind of like loving it. But he's cooled off hard.
It's his usage, man. They need to put that dude on the field. But they're winning games. They're not going to change what they're doing, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, Alex. So Patrick Mahomes, big injury. Patrick Mahomes left with an ACL injury. So he already had surgery, by the way, which is a little weird.
That's kind of crazy. You think you got to wait a little while for like swelling to go down or something? Or I don't know.
They're just getting after it. They want to be ready for next season. And the Chiefs are out of playoff contention.
Love that part. Don't love the injury, but love that part.
Yeah, we all do. We replaced them with the Patriots, unfortunately, though. So,
deal with the devil.
Painful. Yeah. How do you think, though, this impacts Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, even their defense, who's playing this week in a great matchup versus the Titans? What are you feeling as far as fantasy is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier on the Smash Start segment. I mean, I'm not anti-Minshew mania at all. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback by any means. I mean, considering some of the things, some of the quarterbacks that are coming out here playing this week he's much better than. But I'm gonna, got to curb expectation. I think Rashee Rice, I think you still auto start. He takes a hit, but I mean, he's kind of an underneath route kind of guy anyways. I think Minshew kind of does enough to make him relevant. Kelce is probably fine too. I mean, Minshew was part of that group in Las Vegas last year that pummeled Brock Bowers with 153 targets. So I think Kelce provides probably a safe floor again this week. All other offensive playmakers are probably not really to be considered for the rest of the season other than those two. Team defense, I think, probably does actually okay. I mean, again, it's the Titans. I think they know that the offense is going to be struggling, so they're going to come up extra fired up, like, all right, we gotta hold it down for everybody. Professionals who have won a Super Bowl, multiple Super Bowls within the last handful of years, I don't see them just laying over weak to a Titans offense led by a rookie Cam Ward. I think they're like, let's go out and prove what we could do typically,
Yeah, they might just get out all that pent-up anger, and it might just be them destroying the Titans. So it's
Did you see Chris Jones when he was at his press conference and didn't know they were out? He's like, well, we still got a fighting chance. No, we don't.
They were like,
awkward.
No, you're eliminated. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's tough stuff. They haven't been in this situation in I can't even remember how many years. So
long time.
Yes, even thinking about this has probably been last on his mind. He's focusing on winning games. So.
Josh, switching over to Washington, Jacory, Croskey-Merritt, or Bill, as we in the peeps that call him, or just that's just what he wants to be called, so that's why we call him that. I mean, he had 18 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown. Josh, is Bill back with Chris Rodriguez if he continuing to miss time?
I'm viewing Bill the same exact way I did before as I do now. He's a touchdown dependent, game script dependent running back on a flaky offense. He saw around 50% of the snaps with McNichols. He wasn't involved in the passing game at all. Last week, he did pop into my brain as a streamer after the injury news simply because the Giants' run defense is terrible. But this week, they get Philly. Philly's favored by 6.5 points. Yep. This guy is somebody I am avoiding. If he's on the waiver wire, I'm avoiding this guy. I feel like it's a trap. He has to find the end zone to be productive. That is the only way he's going to be productive. This is not a great matchup either. So you're left with a low floor and low ceiling, in my opinion, which isn't great going. It isn't great going into week 16. I'm just saying, he gives you none of
options.
Either. Yeah. I just don't like that for a matchup. Now, start sits are very crazy. Things happen, but usage, game script, who they're playing, just checks all the boxes as a big fat no for me. Another running back injury situation. Devin Neal left with a hammy injury during the Saints game in week 15. Since the Jets have traded away their entire team, they've allowed 33 points per game to running backs in fantasy, which is number 1 in the NFL. If Alvin Kamara suits up somehow, it's insane. If Alvin Kamara suits up, are we looking at a Kamara legacy game where he just sets back the clock, scores 6 touchdowns like he did on Christmas many, many years ago? Would you be brave enough to start him because of the matchup this upcoming week and his maybe usage, insane usage?
No, probably not. I do actually have Kamara sitting on an IR of a playoff team. And I do kind of need a flex play. I got some questionable stuff. So I could make this happen, but boy, has he had a bad season. And now he's been sitting out for 3 weeks. We aren't even really sure if he is or isn't coming back this week. Kind of what else the practice reports. I'm actually more focused on maybe a possible Audric Estime start. I mean, fresh legs, only 22 years. He came in the second half, caught 3 passes once Neal went down. Either way, I probably wouldn't have the cojones to pull the trigger on either of them, even though it is a smash matchup against the Jets.
Okay, understandable. It's very risky.
Man, talking about other old, possibly injured guys, Davante Adams left the game with an ankle injury. I have a ton of stock in Davante. Josh, do you have any kind of insider knowledge about maybe what his injury is or timeline to get back, and what happens with this offense moving forward? Any kind of main benefactors you're eyeing?
Most recent information I have is he's probably not going to be back for the fantasy playoffs. More than likely going to miss this week and then next week as well. So it's not great news for Davante owners. Again, anything can happen. But
I mean, they're trying to make a Super Bowl run here.
He's an older wide receiver too. The recovery usually takes a little bit longer in those situations. So that's all the news based off the injury status that I'm hearing. As far as the offense goes, I talked about this a couple weeks ago with Adams and McVay. They changed their entire offense. They started utilizing 13 personnel or 1 wide receiver sets and multiple tight end sets. On the surface, Puka Nacua, I think, obviously gets a huge boost. I think Blake Corum and both Kyron Williams will benefit from this situation because essentially he is their opportunity. I don't know about their opportunities, but their snap share is very close to 50-50. I'd have to check on the opportunities, but they're seeing very close to almost a split backfield situation. But Adams was operating essentially as the goal line back whenever they were within the 5-yard line. And I don't know if you saw it last week, Troy, because you have Davante Adams, and I was watching that game. They bracketed Adams in the end zone. They literally put 2 guys on him.
Had to have it eventually.
Looked at him immediately, was about to throw it, and was like, not doing that, and he had to go elsewhere. If that's taken away, they're probably going to run them more consistently within that goal line, which boosts those running backs. I expect McVay typically sticks with a 13 personnel set. Colby Parkinson would be the main benefactor, I think, hot in this situation. He's been so good. Over the past 4 weeks, 4 tight ends, Parkinson has been top 10 in target per route run, top 10 in first read target share. He's number 1 in the NFL with targets within the 20-yard line for tight ends. Seattle plays zone at top 10 in the league and 2 high safeties. Outside Puka, Parkinson's has been their number 3 option. Davante was obviously their 1 and 2 there all year. This could maybe be another tight end on waivers.
My only issue with Parkinson is it's kind of wild that he's in his 6th year. Over the last 6 games, he's got 6 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
Before that time, his career total was 5. So he's more than doubled his reception total in the last 6 games. It's just kind of like, where is this coming from? Why is this coming now? I don't know. I don't know if I trust it.
Yeah, he's getting usage. That's the biggest thing. But I will agree, Ferguson the other tight end, has actually ran more routes than him. As I was writing this up, I was looking at it. I was like, this is tough because he's not really running as many routes as the other guys, but he's seeing opportunities. Like this is Dalton Kincaid-esque situations where when he's running a route, he's getting a look. It is a risk, high reward type of situation. But when you got the hot hand, you're right as long as you can. Alternatively, McVay could just get crazy. I'm going back to 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets with Adams out. Maybe it's less effective because Adams is not in there.
Maybe
I don't know if I see him making this significant of a change. Yeah, this becomes the Puka show if that happens. And then like my crazy take on this whole situation is 7th round rookie. I'm going to say this name terribly wrong. Nada Mumfield. Some of y'all probably don't even know who this guy is, but let's just say hypothetically he sees an increase in usage and opportunities. McVay loves diamonds in the rough. And last week, even before Adams got hurt, Mumfield was more involved. He has been part of 13 personnel sets and the game plan since mid-season about. He's a guy, especially for Dynasty, I'm watching closely. But if he pops off this week, maybe in redraft, if he pops off this week, maybe in redraft, you could look at him in week 17 with the Rams passing at the high rate that they are based on what McVay decides to do. That's a crazy deep take, but
I mean, they got tough Seattle this week. So if he pops off against Seattle, then they got Atlanta next week. You're even more excited.
Got to feel a little.
Yeah. Know what else is kind of exciting right now, Josh? Tony Pollard. Ooh. He has finished as RB2 and RB9 over the past 2 weeks. He's essentially got you into the playoffs if you were in the hunt there, albeit he might have made you not in the hunt with his early season performance, but we're going to look past all that. Would you consider starting Tony Pollard in any format with the success he's found on the ground recently?
Rule number 1, no, don't start Titans players. Honestly, I have no idea how this man found success on the ground. He has only played like 50% of the snaps with Tajay Spears, like splitting opportunities. The Titans are actually favored, if you can believe it, in week 17. But those two for fantasy performances, freak occurrences. There's absolutely no chance I'm betting my playoffs on any Titans player ever. Even if he somehow went for 1,000 points this week, I'm not starting him in week 17, even as they're favored. So
it is against tough Kansas City this week. We talked about. We assume their defense is going to come in angry and motivated, and looking to prove what they can do.
He tore off the Browns though. That was an elite run defense, and he busted I think a 60+ yarder or something.
Yeah,
I was watching it. How is this happening? What is going on right now?
It was a little wild.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing we got today to kind of talk about George Pickens. I mean, this is a guy who was wide receiver 2 between the weeks of 2 to 13. That's like a big sample size. That's like almost the entire year. He was wide receiver 2 in that stretch. But all of a sudden, he has just cooled off back-to-back scores games. Hasn't cracked 40 receiving yards in either of them. I'm hearing chatter about like his effort concerns, taking plays off, not really helping in the run game at all. Apparently, this is what people are saying, is that he found out that they're going to use the franchise tag on him this offseason, and he's pissed. He wants a long-term deal. He wants that money. Obviously, everyone would. Yeah, but Pickens has also always kind of been a bit of a head case back when he was in Pittsburgh. With this new drama, is this enough to make you actually look away from such a stud receiver?
I'm all for one that emotions play a factor in a player's performance, but it really just makes it so much more difficult for fantasy and making start-sit decisions. Like last week, again, I was in the Joe Burrow situation where I was going to start him. It's a great example because he was in his feels. I don't know if you saw his pressers all week, but he was like, I don't know about football. I don't know about playing. And he was totally in his feels about the whole situation. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to start Burrow.
He's going to Andrew Luck it soon, or?
Yeah. Taro. Yeah. People were talking about the Luck situation. It just doesn't look good for emotional state. But what I will say is these sound like rumors. I haven't really heard Pickens talk about it. Again, if there's pressures out there, maybe he's mentioned it, but I have not seen him be vocal about that specific situation. And I'm a data guy. I went and I looked at the data. I actually watched his past couple games and the coverages and the routes that he ran. Through the first 13 weeks of the season, just looking at that kind of sample size, Pickens was number 6 in the NFL at separating from his defender. There was only a handful of wide receivers that were better in doing this all year long. Essentially, this means when he's running routes, he's getting open, so it's easier to pass him the ball. Now, over the past 2 weeks, Pickens is 137 out of 145 eligible players at creating separation. This is not great when you look at his season-long results. Yeah, this is terrible. And this is a small sample size, though. They did play Detroit. They played Minnesota those 2 weeks. Last week, we just saw Detroit bracket Adams. They keyed on him to slow him down. Pickens also shared in his press conferences. He's like, I'm getting doubled. That's just what happens. Other guys get open in those situations. That is what he is sharing. I hope I am wrong with what I'm about to say because I play Pickens this week in one of our leagues. I just think you can't not start him. Like, he is a must start because he's on a stacked team, even against a good Chargers defense who is preventing explosive plays. Pickens has run number 2 routes in the NFL over the past 2 weeks, only behind my boy, Trey McBride. CD has been seeing season high usage and target share and first read target share. Maybe CD continues his dominance, but if this was your option, you have an elite wide receiver who's been productive for 13 out of the 15 weeks. He's on a pass heavy and pass focused offense. They have one of the worst defenses in the entire NFL. The other team should hypothetically put up points, and you're going in as an underdog in this game. Would you not start Pickens in that, just that general information about that wide receiver? So unless you have a crazy stacked team where you can plug somebody in that hypothetically could finish as a wide receiver 1 on the week, I'm still rolling with Pickens. I'm slotting him in my wide receiver and maybe even flex based on this.
I just want to go back. McBride has the most routes run in the NFL over the last 2 weeks.
Past 2 weeks. Yeah.
Must be nice.
Yes. Opportunity. I can actually pull it up real quick. I can see if who's got number 1.
No, it's gonna make me angry. What is the first hand? He put up 38 against me. I hated it.
That was due to touchdowns though. And since we were talking about that, Jacoby Brissett, actually a couple weeks ago, I was like, he's not going to finish as a top 12 quarterback because Houston has never allowed a top 12 quarterback finish. He finishes exactly quarterback 12. He still has his streak alive. I was wrong. He figured it out somehow. And yes,
see, the first half, it seemed like they held him in check. And then the whole second half, they just exploded again. That's how Arizona plays every game, though.
You do. We talk about Kyler Murray versus Brissett. And Brissett's slinging it right now, but they're not productive yards, right?
Yeah.
Arizona wants Kyler Murray's 200 yards passing in a win over Brissett's 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and garbage losses. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year. But yes, I looked up the data real quick. Number 1 is Trey McBride. Number 3 is Jamar Chase. Number 4 is George Pickens. Chris Olave is number 5. Who do you think is number 2 in routes run on the year?
On the year?
On the year.
JSN?
Not JSN. So JSN is actually one of the lower ones. He's been crazy productive. This is a Arizona guy, if you can believe it.
So Michael Wilson?
It's Michael Wilson, dude.
So, I mean, that just goes to show you that Arizona... So, obviously, Arizona's passing plays just have to be so high compared to everybody else that they have got 2 of the top 5 or whatever.
And he's on a tear right now. I really want Marvin Harrison Jr. to come back, slow that down.
Yeah.
I don't got Wilson. If you're a Wilson owner, I'm sorry. But I don't got him.
Curve that a little bit.
So, give me that Marvin Harrison Jr. back. Come on. I need you healthy, my boy. All right. Well, that's all we got for this week. If you like what you heard, give us a like and subscribe. If not, we just appreciate y'all hanging out. As always, good luck in week 16 and go steal a championship. We'll see y'all later.
Peace.